Mazda 3 versus Mazda CX30 compact hatch versus compact SUV. Glad you joined us. This will be a very interesting comparison episode. This is the Mazda 3 in the front, and you can see here a big front grille with a black design package we have here today. So this part, would usually be in chrome or bright, is black today. Optional, you can get matrix LED lights. These are also the matrix LED lights, but normal LED are also standard. You can see here very nice soul crystal red, or magma red as it's called in Germany. This color has different layers and therefore appears so shiny. The front grille of the CX30, the SUV, is more upright and also higher, and also more ground clearance right here. Interesting difference, daytime running light. The CX30 has here this one dot and then the ring also around, but not that clear, I would say. And the Mazda 3 does have the, let's say, extended ring, so it's longer here and therefore more shiny, I would say. In the side profile, 4.45 m or 175 inches for the Mazda 3, and the Mazda CX30 is around 6 centimeters or 2 inches shorter. But overall, not too much of a length difference, at least if you compare hatch versus SUV. The Mazda 3 also available as a sedan or called fastback. That one then is way longer. 18-inch wheels here in the design selection package. Usually 16-inch would be standard, and then directly hop to 18-inch. And the Mazda 3 here in the side profile, this huge C-pillar, that is crucial for the design of the vehicle, and also the slim window line right there. Therefore it looks so sporty. We also have the 18-inch wheels for the Mazda CX30. And with the CX30, the characteristic sign is this one here, this huge cladding, to my taste a little bit too big actually, but what do you think? And then the side profile, typical compact SUV style. Interesting color here, by the way, this is called polymetal gray. And in the rear, round tail lamps look, but then horizontally drawn, and overall the sexier rear for the Mazda 3 with the round shapes right there and glossy black in the lower end. Both real exhaust tips, by the way, so no job for the autogrill fake exhaust police. That's always an honest design by Mazda. And the CX30 here with this higher look, typical SUV look in the rear. So the question is, what's your favorite? By the way, here and here, the just plain more rugged look for the CX30 SUV. Engines, 2-liter 4-cylinders, petrol engines, naturally aspirated, 120 or 150 horsepower. Or the Sky Active X. This one combines petrol and diesel technology, so there's a compressor on the inside for a self-ignition process. Really interesting. Now 186 horsepower, that's an upgrade. They promise more power and less fuel consumption. We have the same engines, CX30 and the Mazda 3. The diesels are no more, even not in Europe anymore, at least in most markets, because no one goes for them anymore. So Sky Active X is the choice if you want the best performance. Acceleration figure here is 8.1 seconds for the Mazda 3, 8.3 seconds for the CX30. They are also available with all-wheel drive and also with automatic gearbox. But today, Sky Active X, front-wheel drive, manual gearbox. This is now very interesting for the boot comparison. 360 liters manual hatch, Mazda 3, 430 liters, so 70 liters more in boot capacity for the Mazda CX30 electric hatch. Well, takes a while. And then interesting is that the length here with the Mazda CX30 is 31 inches or less than 80 centimeters, whereas here with the Mazda 3, we are at 34 inches or 86 centimeters. So this one here, you know, really substantially longer. But the crucial thing is the height. The width, a meter or 40 inches, no problem. But here the height, about 19 inches or 48 centimeters. Whereas then with the CX30, we're here. And when we remove this one, by the way, sideways folding mechanism. Why? That's unusual and no idea why they do that. So here then the height is almost 21 inches, or here then more than 50 centimeters. So because the height here is more than the liter capacity is more, weakness of both vehicles is that they have tiny rear legroom. We start with the Mazda 3, and you can see here, yeah, so it doesn't really fit when I'm driving as a tall driver, 1.86 or 6'1", then I do hit, you know, the back seat with my knees. Headroom-wise, also pretty cramped. It does work when I don't put my spine all the way up, but it's really closed and overall, yeah, a very cramped feeling here. So the Mazda 3 has around 7 centimeters or more than 2 inches longer wheelbase than the CX30. So that should mean that the CX30 would be even worse in legroom. That's the case. So let's get inside, and you can see here it's also super close. I also hit the back seat with my knees. Headroom is actually a little bit better. So that's better here. And the thing is, yeah, it is even a little bit worse, but it's not that much worse as the figures, you know, would expect, because here you sit a little bit more upright and that saves the seating position somewhat. So if you want to drive at least with 3 very tall adults, move this seat here a little bit more to the front. That counts for both vehicles. And what also counts for both vehicles is another construction flaw. So when you want to fold the back seat forward like this, that's the usual result. So in order to have everything folded then for the maximum trunk capacity, you have to move the front seat really way to the front like this. And just to show you, in a position where the rear bench would fold, yeah, it's not the ideal position then once again for tall drivers. So, and this is also the case for both vehicles, for the key fobs. They're both the same. This is the one for the Mazda 3 in this case. So door closing sound first. That doesn't sound too good. And rear door closing sound, even worse. And like, so this is, you know, one weakness of the vehicle. We see high build quality on the interior. This, however, door closing sounds, they haven't put any emphasis on this yet. Maybe they will in the future when they watch this video. Then here, soft touch at the inside of the doors, optional Bose sound system, and this is everything very well processed what we see here now. A modern steering wheel, also with nice buttons right here, clicking sounds even a little bit, and good build quality as for this case, Motor instrument and the infotainment screen. Seats would usually start with a black fabric. These are also the ones then to go for with the black fabric. This is the optional animal skin package, just boosting up the price and making summertime more sweaty. And inside the Mazda 3, let's check it out. So rather this low seating position, headroom, 1.86 or 6.1, still okay. Steering wheel manual control is actually also nicely done. So it is a very sporty atmosphere indeed. That's also different if you compare previous generation Mazda 3 to this one now. Definitely a sportier feeling. Overall, quite good seating position. And now to the Mazda CX30. Door closing sound is actually a little bit better, both front and rear. So yeah, better door closing sound for the CX30. That might be a very good reason to go for that one, wouldn't it? Then inside of the doors, also soft touch, but not as soft as with the Mazda 3. A little bit more sensual design right here. Then we have today a bright interior, but it's also animal skin. It would also start with black fabric seats, which are the way to go for. You see the rest of the cockpit is pretty much similar. So of course they use a lot of same parts as for that. And now comes the main reason to go for the SUV. It's the more upright seating position, and indeed it is more relaxed. You sit higher and immediately you feel it's more comfort. So far most of the things rather speak for the Mazda 3, design, trunk, also legroom, but here in the front with the cockpit here, definitely speaks for the CX30 because it's just more relaxed as for the seating position. Unless you want it sportier intentionally, then of course it's the Mazda 3. Interior overview, Mazda CX30, soft touch materials here, that's well done, and also here the climate unit. Yes, thank you so much. Double thumbs up for saving the manual climate unit, and it has a really good quality also with this knurling around. Seat heating, this is such a straightforward cockpit. It's just easy to control. Thank you, Mazda. Left side, 7-inch screen, but just the middle part is a screen. And this ring is also analog, and the other 2 rings are analog as well. So it's a mix of digital and analog, but actually easy and clear to read everything you might possibly need. And you can click through here in the middle part here, for example, also have the digital speedometer. And the head-up display, guess what? With both vehicles, that's also standard equipment. Infotainment screen, not wire touch. They say they do that intentionally for safety reasons, but actually easy to control, also without touch. And here the sat-nav looks nice with the water simulation right there and does the job definitely. And the menu structure is kept quite lean. That's why I like that. On the right side then a hotkey to the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's also standard equipment and you can get very well along with that. Here's the map view of the Apple CarPlay, for example. They go back right here, or to the music, and this optional Bose sound system actually has a quite decent sound. Woo. Cup holders here in the front, also adaptive. Then we have a manual gearbox for today, and so cool, they also have these, very crisp gears, I will also call it in that way. Then this is how you control the infotainment system, also with nice clicking sounds and the proper hotkeys, so very well done by Mazda once again. And here also the volume knob. Then we have soft touch leatherette armrest, you slide it back, and then really substantial space right here, and with the smartphone, but also with the inductive charging pad underneath. And the rear view camera, a good resolution with both vehicles, and also the fake drone view from above is an option. Here, and you can see the camera underneath the side mirror. Ooh. Welcome to Thomas's comparison driving lounge. Here, Mazda 3 first, and since we have the Sky Active X, it behaves like a turbo engine, more or less, so that's different than from the naturally aspirated engine at Mazda. And the good thing is here you also can keep it in higher gears and you still have some acceleration power. With the pure naturally aspirated engines at Mazda, you always have to go in the lower gears and really turn them up. The linear power output is really cool with these, but with the Sky Active X, it's just more relaxing to drive. And at the same time, you also have more power when you need it, and still in third gear or something, you still get some kind of an acceleration. And that's overall, of course, a more pleasing driving feeling when you have just more power and you don't have to shift that much. At the same time, the consumption will not be higher than with the normal naturally aspirated engine. That's the key element, definitely. In general, Mazda 3, good steering input, so really precise, and it feels so natural. It really works, so it's a lot of fun to drive this vehicle. And you buy a normal compact hatch, but you already have so much driving fun. That's the cool thing about this car. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have a fun vehicle. This is a normal vehicle, for a normal affordable price, and already you can get a lot of driving fun. That's cool. And here also blind spot monitor, first visual, then acoustic, and that's once again the cool thing. Blind spot monitor, adaptive cruise control, head-up display, all standard. And I would wish that more manufacturers just offer these features as standard equipment. It's so exhausting always to have this, this is an option, this is an option, and oh yeah, there's also an option. That's not the case here with the Mazda. There are options still, yes. For example, also the 18-inch wheels in the design package and the Matrix LED lamps. At least, that's one design package then, and that's basically it. That was a 0 to 50 acceleration, not too exaggerated, so in a, let's say, normal style. Now we also head out to the motorway. Shifting the gears, what we told you in the interior part, is such a crisp thing to do. So this is one of the rare vehicles here with the Mazdas where I say, yes, no problem. Go for the manual gearbox, because the manual gearbox is so much fun, very short ways to shift, and then also the feedback you get, it's not too hard, it's just exactly right. You get a sporty kind of feedback. So yes, automatic gearboxes are relaxing to drive, but this one here, once again, a very engaging gearbox. And I would in this case also both, Mazda 3 and the Mazda CX30 go with the manual gearbox. You save fuel, you have more driving fun. These are among the best manual gearboxes on the market. And the automatic gearboxes by Mazda, even though they have been updated now, a little bit, are in general outdated and have also higher fuel consumption. When you ask me about all-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive is definitely enough for these vehicles. The situations where you need the all-wheel drive, unless you are in your living surrounding, really requires all-wheel drive. Other than that, rather save the money for that. And now what's happening? 60 kilometers to 80, third gear. There we go. And this is really the difference then here from the Sky Active X engine. You still have power also when you are in the third gear, that's no problem. And that's just more relaxing and of course more powerful at the same time. It's still not a super performing engine, so there are competitors which have just more horsepower to offer. Mazda is not the manufacturer that offers the most horsepower, but still, it's actually reasonably powered than here. Third gear really pulling up now. Now we're going a little bit faster. We have unlimited motorway speed right now here. So that's 150 kilometers an hour. Very well sitting on the road and very calm and collected feeling. Put in one more lane change. Wow, it's so much fun, and it's also still really good as for the noise insulation. So even here at higher speeds, very good noise insulation. I'm looking forward how that one turns out with the Mazda CX30, if it might be louder or something because of the SUV building style. So, flawless driving experience here with the Mazda 3, and especially the engaging drive, top notch. Now the CX30 acceleration second gear from 40 kilometers. That's 130 kilometers an hour. So again, not super powerful, but definitely way more powerful than we would have with the naturally aspirated engines. Here now at higher speeds, noise insulation, I don't feel a big difference, I have to say. So maybe a little bit or something, but it's still, you know, really good, really silent. So also comparable then to the Mazda 3 hatch. The steering feeling and so on, this is actually also identical. Not of course the identical driving feeling overall, but just the steering input, also very natural. Also how the gears are put in this very crisp way, that's once again really, really cool. It's just that you have this more upright seating position and the body roll is a little bit increased, so it leans more inside the corners. So for a sporty driving feeling, that's of course not that good. However, if you think about the comfortable driving experience now, when we say we go to the motorway and just relax a little bit more and just drive it, then it's actually better because you just feel like a little bit calmer, more upright and so on. And this is really the thing where I would also decide about these two vehicles. If the sporty, engaging driving fun is more important to you, then go for the Mazda 3. If you more seek comfort in the higher seating position, then go for the Mazda CX30. It could also be a use case. For example, I would think about how will I use this vehicle? If I drive short ways in the city and so on, and like to have some sporty driving fun every day, probably go for the Mazda 3, for the Mazda 3. And if I more think about, yeah, I don't want to buy a big vehicle or don't want to pay so much money for a huge car, but still I want a comfortable motorway vehicle and I have longer journeys quite often, then the CX30 is the better choice for you. The overview is better here when I look to the rear and also look to the sides. Definitely a better overview, but the B-pillars are both quite thick and secure. And the good thing is we have the blind spot monitor standard once again, and that's why it's also not a big issue that the B-pillars are thick and you cannot really see so much there. So once again, I really enjoy also the standard equipment with the vehicles we have right here. As for the fuel economy, as I said, it doesn't make much difference if you go for the Sky Active X or the normal petrol engine, because the Sky Active X has this diesel-like fuel-saving technology with the self-ignition. And depending on the drive style and how much you push it, you will end up between 6 and 7 liters on 1 kilometers. So yeah, something towards the higher 30 mpg regions. What do you think here from our driving parts? Let's hop to our final conclusion. And now to our conclusion for today. Mazda 3 compact hatch versus Mazda CX30, the compact SUV. It's a tough choice because price-wise they come very close. Highest trim here today for both vehicles, so they're both around 35,000 euros. However, this one here, 1,500 euros more expensive. Yeah, But usually I always tell you rather keep it low or mid-spec because this is the best thing about both vehicles. They come with so much standard equipment. This is a very fair deal for the customer, and then you can also score less than $30,000 or less than 30,000 euros. That's a cool thing with both vehicles. So if you ask me, if I want to drive away with one car now and have more fun, I would pick the Mazda 3. But if you tell me, pick one vehicle for a longer period of time and also use it for longer motorway journeys, I would go with the Mazda CX30. So that's my verdict for today. What's yours?